Jantar Mantar has erupted with protest again, and this time it is about Reservation Hatao Andolan. But the question here is not reservation or no reservation. The question here is why such skirmishes are getting up. What is the real reason behind it? What is the real cause that is leading to eruption of this debate again and again? Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and in today's session we are going to take a deep dive to understand not just this protest but the cause behind this debate, which says that the reservation should be given based on economic status rather than just the social category, and why this debate has never settled out even after economically weaker sections have the reservation. Now when we look at this protest, you have to understand that this started on August 21st, that is yesterday. All of a sudden, the momentum of this protest was so huge that there were multiple detentions and police action was also taken against this massive gathering at Jantar Mantar. Now, the cause they are here for, they are saying that there should be no reservation based on caste. If there is a reservation, it should be based on the economic status, and they are also asking one thing, very sensitive but important for discussion, that is removal of SC/ST Atrocities Act of 1989. Now when we are looking at this is the exact point to understand first what are the key demands and then analyze a deeper layer involved with it. So as I said, the first thing is that reservation should be based primarily on just economic disadvantage if it is present, and the present reservation framework needs rework. Apart from that, there has been the proposal, the demand to introduce and expand the debate around creamy layer principle, how that is decided. So when we are looking especially for reservation amongst OBCs, creamy layer principle is very important principle there. And in addition to this, there has been opposition to the UGC equity regulation, and as I said, the repeal of SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act of 1989 has been asked by the protesters. Now this is the exact place we need to understand that whenever we are talking about reservation is what? Reservation is affirmative action. Affirmative action for what? To help the disadvantaged groups. Now this is coming from our constitution, yes. Now can you tell me in the comment section which of the constitutional principles, specifically articles, allow for the reservation? Now when we are talking about this affirmative action that is being taken up, what should be the basis of it? Now one proposal is that the basis should be economic criteria. The second proposal is that the affirmative action should be on caste based criteria. Now to understand this better, we have to understand the arguments on both of these sides. That is when we can have clarity of the thought. So in this prospect, when we are looking at economic criteria, let us take from the perspective of a student, right? A particular student might be lacking in terms of quality schooling because he does not have the financial resources. He might not be able to take coaching because he does not have the financial resources. As I mentioned, financial resources for both of the reasons. This is also a definite factor. And this is when, because of this, they might lack on not just school networks, but later in terms of professional networks as well. Correct? So in this context, a person who is being deprived of all of this should be considered for affirmative action, should be considered for giving help, should be considered for ensuring that they have some sort of relief, where it can be in form of reservation or not. Correct? This seems like the right person to be helped. But when we are looking at our society, when we are looking at our country, you have to clearly understand that economic poverty is not the only factor that makes you disadvantaged. A person living in our country may suffer from social exclusion as well, discrimination as well, underrepresentation as well, unequal access to institutions and networks because of their social caste. And this is where we have to understand that when we are looking at disadvantage, it is not in terms of all of this, it is also in terms of social representation. And the reason I'm outlining this very clearly for you is the fact that when we look at both of these situations, first poverty and second the social gap, in this context they might overlap, that a person can be poor and at the same time he might be socially disadvantaged as well, but at the same time they are not identical. It's not the same problem. And if it is not the same problem, it cannot be solved by the same measures. Why I am saying this? Because this is where we have to understand, as I said in the starting, the question is not about caste versus poverty, reservation or no reservation. We have to understand if we can take affirmative action for the disadvantaged communities which can address the multiple forms in which they exist. We will come back to this debate again. Now when we are looking at argument for the caste-based affirmative action, at one place you might say that okay, affirmative action has been given in form of reservation for the caste-based disadvantaged people, and then we also have SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act. But when we are looking at the economic criteria, we also have EWS reservation. So why this debate again? Why this protest again? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section that why EWS reservation has not ended the debate that we are having today in our country. Now for this you have to understand that once EWS came into the picture through 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act, it did bring 10% reservation for the economically weaker section candidates. It was applicable to admissions, public employment, and the framework was constitutional and legally present as well. And it is something that was upheld by Supreme Court as well in the Jan Hit Abhiyan case of 2022. Now in this context, we are looking, this quota is specifically being given to whom? Economically weaker sections. But it is also excluding scheduled castes, scheduled tribes and other backward classes and socially and economically backward classes which are present, and these are out of ambit of this particular reservation. Now, once we have understood this, the reason I have pointed this out is coming from what just we learned from the previous slide, that economic disadvantage is not equal to social disadvantage. And that is why this debate has not settled. This is the first factor. Please remember, I will be talking about the second factor here as well. The real reason we get to see, and the second reason that we get to see that this conflict is intensifying, is not because of a reservation. It is not because of no reservation. It is not because of economic criteria or the social criteria. It is because of the fact that when we are looking at our present competition economy, right, we have millions of people, young people who are looking to get government jobs, but they are limited. We are looking to get admission in prestigious institutions, but the seat here are limited. We want to get professional courses, limited, and public sector employment, that is also limited. But all of these is being fought for millions of young people. So the second and more clearer and vivid reason, but this is something public is totally missing on. The conversation has been simplified and eased in a very different term as reservation or no reservation. Rather, it is about lack of opportunities. If the opportunities were enough based on the people who are looking for them, then this conversation would have been coming from a totally different perspective. And this is where we understand that every seat in every place that I have just mentioned, that is becoming politically as well as socially contested. So in this context, it is the scarcity of quality opportunity in our country, because we have intense examination competition, we have high dependence on government employment, we have costly coaching systems, we have graduate unemployment, underemployment, and many more props up, and unequal quality of schooling. All of this is piping up, penting up, and coming out in this form. Now, when we are talking about the protest, another thing that I started with was repeal of SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act. In this context, you also have to understand that two of these demands do not stand together. They are not applicable together. When we are talking about reservation, it is an affirmative action. When we are talking about the SC/ST Act, it is a criminal law protection. That means this act is important for protecting people from the caste-based atrocities. Reservation is about giving representation, giving opportunity, but this act is about giving protection. That is why this legislation is considered a landmark legislation for safeguarding not just the rights but also the dignity of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe community. So when we are looking at this debate that who should receive affirmative action, and when we are talking about the criminal law protection, they become fundamentally different, and that is why combining them together can blur the two important separate policy questions. This is about access to opportunity. This is about protection from violence. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think these are two separate things and should be dealt separately, or they should be combined? And let me know the reasons as well in the comment section. So as of now, we have had a lot of information in and around the protest, but we need to go to the real question which the protest is talking about: reservation or no reservation. Actually, this question in itself is fundamentally wrong. The real question here is, when we are looking at affirmative actions, are they addressing the problems of our country, society in the right way? If they are addressing in the right way, then why is this happening? If they are not addressing it in the right way, then we need to redesign it. And if we need to redesign it, how we need to do it to ensure that socially disadvantaged and economically disadvantaged are protected in right manner, considering that they are not identical. Because this is the actual question that needs to be answered, rather than understanding should reservation or no reservation. Because this is extreme simplification of a complex, sensitive issue, and this only divides people, creates chaos. This is solution oriented, gives direction and understanding. Now in this context, if we are talking about affirmative action, what can be done? When we are looking at affirmative action, we have to look at the questions for policy. What things need to be considered? For example, are the benefits reaching the most disadvantaged groups within the beneficiary groups? Who is lowest in the rank? Are they getting what is being promised? How should economic disadvantage be addressed? How should persistent social discrimination need to be measured, reworked, and a framework to be made? And how India can reduce the conflict by expanding the total number of quality educational as well as employment opportunities. Because till the point this is not addressed, this debate will keep coming up in various forms. Now what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section. Because this is such a wide topic but also equally important, I am going to leave you here with 3 questions. This is the first question, this is the second question, and then we have the last question. 3 questions so that you have a fair clarity on the conceptual parts of it as well. Let me know the answer to them. I'll be waiting for your answers. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.